Frieze Art Fair has been in existence for 10 years. During this time, they've managed to establish themselves as a truly international platform for contemporary art. However, for me personally, it's really this year that they've managed to outdo themselves by launching a separate sister event called Frieze Masters. Today, we take a look at both. Said to offer a contemporary perspective on historical art, Frieze Masters includes works executed before the year 2000. That creates a very broad chronological frame and includes ancient, medieval, Renaissance, early modern and modern art, and names like Picasso and Gerhard Richter. So let's take a look at something you don't associate with Frieze, a Flemish work of the 17th century. This painting is being exhibited as part of Frieze Masters. And it's really interesting. We don't know who painted it. We see this boy who's been depicted very crudely. When you look at him, even though this is supposed to be a trompe-l'oeil painting, we are certainly not deceived that this is a real boy. And by sticking his little finger out at us, he is inviting us to take a closer look. And when we do, we see that there are lots of inconsistencies in this painting, which I think are great. On one hand, he appears to be a middle-class boy because of his beautiful color. But when we look closely and we look at things like fingernails and teeth, we see that they're actually quite dirty. So that would put him in a different class straight away. So the painter, in effect, is playing with us and with our reading of what we're seeing. Back at Frieze Art Fair, we see 175 galleries from 35 countries. The launch of Frieze Art Fair New York earlier this year doesn't seem to have detracted New York galleries from participating in the London edition. While the total number of New York-based galleries has decreased marginally, 28 in 2011 versus 27 galleries in 2012, the total number of US galleries has increased to 33 this year versus 32 last year. What that means in practice is that the US and the UK continue to have the lion's share at Frieze and account for 40% of represented galleries. The overrepresented regions aside, what about galleries from the emerging markets? How have they negotiated the financial crisis? I asked 3 gallery directors about the state of the art market in their countries: India, United Arab Emirates, and Russia, right before the crash.
5 years ago we had kind of boom. It was 2007 when it was, people were collecting like crazy,
You found that there were a lot of people who would speculate and would just kind of buy and flip, and which doesn't do anything. It's not really good for the artist in their work and their body of work for that to happen so regularly. And I would say over time, with the crash and everyone kind of slowing down and taking a step back, you've gotten rid of a lot of that.
Going back to 2007, the market certainly at that point in time was characterized by an overwhelming interest in painting and traditional media, and was focused primarily in what we call the modern art segment, which really is the post-independence period of India, 1947 through to late 60s, early 70s, prior to the onset of the Baroda school of painting and the return to figuration. And of course the auction market was incredibly instrumental in building that particular base during that period.
So what about the state of the art market now?
To tell what's going on now, I think that people is just not feeling that comfortable in the country, so it really don't give them that chance to collect art, because collecting art is not eating food, so.
The state of the art market right now in Dubai is actually quite good. I would say that it's kind of come back from the shock of the recession that happened 2 years ago. We have a lot more people that are coming up to us and very interested to learn about the artists and to actually start collecting as well. So not only do we have the collectors that we maybe had met and kind of started working with from the beginning when we first started, who've now become quite major collectors in their own right and now started to expand their collections to other forms of work. We are now finding that a lot of new and younger collectors are actually looking to come and buy art or learn about art and kind of diversify, their portfolios.
Well, at the moment we're in a situation where we are developing really a new generation of collectors. based primarily between Mumbai and Delhi, and what we're seeing is an increasing interest in work which could be characterized as challenging or provocative in some nature, and spreading through media as diverse as installation, performance, video. The secondary market then underwent a fair amount of correction in around the late 2008, early 2009, and as a consequence, obviously, younger artists and the primary market was also hit. And it's taken a good 2 years to sort of rebuild from the point at which the market underwent a correction.
Petja Kukularova, Frieze Art Fair.